Our topic for today is emotional abuse. How can you tell you are in an emotional abusive relationship? That is going to be our focus for today. And I'm joined in this conversation by Pauline Gekanga, who's a counselor with Wawera Counseling, a passionate mother, of course, and she loves everything marriage. And we love that you're on the set with us today to empower us on, a topic that I think we need to talk about it more.
Yes.
Because as I said, I think in our previous conversation, that we talk about physical abuse. I know for the people who are listening, physical abuse is something we are familiar with.
Yes.
But when it comes to emotional abuse, how do I even go to the police station and say, hey, I have been emotionally abused, arrest this person?
Yes.
It's almost impossible. So that is why we love the fact that you're here today, to
Yes.
enlighten us on what emotional abuse is, how do I spot the signs, and if I'm being emotionally abused, what do I need to do? So karibu sana, Pauline.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. So yeah, emotional, like you said, most of the times when we talk about abuse, everybody thinks, oh, they are physical. And then, no, he's not physical, or she's not physical. So what is it? So anything abusive towards another person that is not physical is emotional abuse.
Interesting.
So what is not physical but is abusive is emotional abuse. And of course, you get to know it because it happens over time. And it affects your emotions, your integrity, your self-esteem. You become depressive. So it's over time you realize something is happening to me. The way we are doing, the way he talks to me, the way she talks to me. And then you realize over time that you feel abused, Yeah, so it's anything that is not physical but is abusive.
Interesting.
Yes.
In my mind, I'm thinking psychological abuse must be the same as emotional abuse, because
Yes.
I think in the context of the way sometimes we interchange them, emotional abuse can be psychological abuse, right?
Exactly.
How do you spot the signs that you are being emotionally abused?
Yeah.
What are the signs?
Now, let's take for a marriage setup, for example. If all the time you're discussing, you're making a plan as a couple, and any idea you have is shot down, like, no, this. And then it doesn't happen for one decision, because you can say, okay, let one pass, it's all right, let him take the lead, let her take the lead, let's take her advice. But when every time you realize that your spouse shoots down anything
Your idea.
you bring up,
And your comments.
yes, and your comments, and at times it happens even in public. Maybe it's a family gathering, you have your extended family, you say something that no, or something, you every time you're shut down. So you realize now that's becoming emotional, because of course it affects you.
Absolutely.
You're not a baby.
Absolutely.
Even babies these days, we tell
Have an
people,
opinion.
Yeah, do not tell them things that are not kind in front of other people, even in front of their siblings.
You have to be mindful of their feelings.
You have to be mindful of their feelings. So when someone is not mindful of your feelings, when it's a point to give an idea and shoots it down, then that's one sign of
that you're being emotionally
abused.
Over and over when they do that to you.
Over. Now it becomes chronic. It's all the time. When you look back, oh, by the way, my idea is never taken up. I mean, emotional abuse could even be you want to do something for yourself and you don't know, later, another time. So
but the other person, their stuff always, they're always approved. When you're having a conversation,
or
the ideas are always flying. You're the one.
Exactly. They are going on in their lives and all. Maybe you have a charmer as a woman. Women, we like being together with our fellow women. And so you want to go and you're told no. No,
leo tunaenda hivi na hivi.
Exactly.
Or we are going wherever we need to be going. So we have plans.
We have plans. So it doesn't happen once. Once you can say, all right, maybe let's do something else. But then it comes to a point where you're not allowed to go and you're staying at home. So it's not about another plan. But now, and you realize what's happening. I mean, so you have your rights, you feel you want to go, but then you're not allowed to go, and so you can't go. Now that's emotional abuse.
Understood.
Yes.
No, how about the power of words? Because sometimes people are accused, or women are accused of being sensitive. When I tell you something, you get upset. You're too sensitive. I think words, and we know that words have a lot of power.
Exactly.
You know, how do you tell that when somebody is telling you something that, you know, the way they put things, that then you need to feel, no, this is not the way people need to be talked to.
Exactly.
Somebody I love shouldn't be talking to me in this way.
Exactly.
But how can you pick the signs that you become self-aware that the words put across to you are not okay?
Yes. Of course, pick the tone. I mean, how
Tone
is
of
it?
voice.
Exactly. Someone is talking to you from the top of their voice. I mean, and really, no, you know, yes. How can you, stupid? I mean, even calls you names, you know.
Name calling.
Name calling, calls you names, you know. So looking at the tone, if I cannot talk to my boss, my colleague that way, but I'm talking to, the tone has changed. When you talk to me, the tone changes. You talk to me like, just like anybody. I mean, you're not even talk to other people like that.
But you're talking to me like that.
Is not good, and of course, short, and then the tone is used even in front of some people. Their children are there, and they know my mom is always, oh God, dad is coming, mom is coming.
So you're walking on eggshells.
Exactly. So everybody is working on eggshell. So looking at that, of course, the language and the tone of how it, whatever is said, communicated to you, then of course you'll know that that is, you know, emotional abuse. And of course, even your thoughts, you'll never have any idea that is praised, you know, and some people call that, we call that at times gaslighting. You become now, even you start saying that, you start not believing in yourself, because how comes, is it, am I okay?
Pauline, it's an interesting thing that you've mentioned, the word gaslighting. It's the other day that it had meaning for me, because I was watching something and somebody said that in this relationship I am in, that was the context actually,
Yes.
that I feel like I have to record our conversations, because every time I say something, I start to second guess myself so much, because the next time we talk, you say, no, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I didn't say it like that. So you start doubting yourself.
Yes.
And it can really mess up your mind.
Definitely.
That was where I was going with that.
Yeah, it can really mess up your mind. I mean, I mean, where you go to work, your ideas are taken. You know, your friends take your ideas, but then in your home context, in your relationship context, every time you're second guessing, is there anything wrong with me? Then right there you need to pick, then you're emotionally abused. You're being emotionally abused.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Pauline, moving on to the next aspect of our conversation, emotional abuse. What is the impact that it can have on somebody?
The impact is huge. Self-esteem, of course, ranks first. So you start having self-esteem issues. You're not confident about yourself, and so you always want to be alone. Of course, you don't want, maybe you are this vibrant person, you start going, you start not being yourself, you know, so your esteem issues are affected because of the emotional abuse that you're going through.
Okay.
Another thing is there are people who will actually have now depressive tendencies. You start getting depressed. You know, you start feeling like, because of now the lack of self-worth, you don't even want to do the things you do well.
Of course,
you
it will mess up your inside.
Exactly. At work, you can't function anymore. And so you start, you know, maybe getting day offs. You just want to stay in bed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so of course, and those are depressive tendencies. So it's very easy for someone who is, who is emotionally abused to get down into depression.
Right.
Yes.
You know, I'm just thinking to myself, even, for example, if I'm going through something like that, can you imagine the number of mistakes you make out there, even in the workplace? You cannot function.
You can't.
You can't function.
You can't function. Everything starts from home. I mean, if you see somebody struggling at work, just check what is happening at home. You know, are they happy? Because that's a safe haven for everybody.
Absolutely.
That's where we get our energy and our strengths, and we want to go there and thrive. And so if you're struggling and maybe you have changed how you do things, then watch out. Something might be wrong. You know, somebody who used to give ideas at work,
suddenly,
all of a sudden stops giving ideas, and the teammates are wondering what just happened. So that is something that happens when somebody is emotionally abused.
Okay.
Yes.
So what else apart from, you know, your self-esteem being affected, of course, your productivity?
Exactly.
The other thing I actually thought about earlier as you were speaking, when you think about mothers, for example, what do you think is the worst thing you can ever tell a mother? Ever. Like the worst thing.
Like the worst thing. Maybe you're not a good mother.
Exactly.
I mean, that is the worst.
I think it's the worst form of emotional abuse.
Exactly.
Trying to insinuate that somebody is not a good mother.
Exactly.
Somebody doesn't even need to hit you. That stays with you for a long time.
Exactly.
You know, just on that note, if there's anybody who's watching and they've ever been told, you're just the worst mother ever, there's nothing here you are doing, look at these children.
Yeah. Or you just stay here doing nothing. You know, and there's just so many things you're doing. And remember, because you're emotionally abused and then someone just tells you that, it can be bad. And of course, something else that maybe I can add that would happen is anxiety issues.
Oh,
you start
absolutely.
Getting very
Absolutely.
anxious. You're not settled.
Absolutely.
You know? You're not settled, so panic. You know, what is going to happen next? What is happening? So actually, if I would say, Christine, emotional abuse is deeper than even physical abuse. You know, physical you can see. You can actually go, and like you're saying, it's hard to go and tell the police that I'm being emotionally
abused.
And that's where counseling and therapy comes in.
That's a good point.
For emotionally abused people, that's their place. You know, just seek out for therapists, seek out for counseling, because so that you can be able to work on your emotions.
I like that.
But for a police physical, you can go and get an abstract.
Yeah, of
and
course.
And of course, because it's very physical, so it's not seen. And of course, what is not seen sinks deeper. Yeah.
Wow, that's a profound way of putting it.
Yeah.
What doesn't get seen, of course, sinks deeper.
Yes.
Earlier on, as we are winding up this conversation, I mentioned if there's anybody who's watching right now and somebody is telling them or emotionally abusing them by telling them that you are not a good mother or you are not a good father, what word of advice can you tell them on how to cope and how to, you know, just move past that?
Yeah.
What can you tell them? What word of hope can you tell them?
So what I would tell any mother or father, you know, just listening and possibly feeling what they have been told is really putting them down, is to seek help. You know, get out for help. And you can't lose it. You can't say, maybe I'm thinking, maybe it's not true. You will know it. When you're emotionally abused, you will know it, you will pick it. And so before it's too late, because again, it can really move and it's too late. And then you get to a place of, I mean, you've had so many people taking away their lives.
Absolutely.
Christine. So don't wait for it to get there. Seek help, seek therapy. There's no stigma around therapy. We actually all need therapy. So get out there so that you get help and then you find hope again.
Thank you, Pauline. And on that note, I will still ask you to add a few other points. I know we have like 3 minutes to go.
Right.
You have mentioned that there's no stigma in seeking therapy.
Yes.
And I love that you looked at the camera, and anybody who's watching and they're feeling that other people don't understand or will not understand what you're going through, I would urge you to sit with a professional. You never know, this could be the help that you need.
Exactly.
2, coping mechanisms. What 2-3 pointers can you share when it comes to coping apart from therapy? What do I need to do?
What do I need to
if I'm being emotionally abused? Would you recommend that at some point I need to think about walking away? How about self-care? What do I need to do to take care of myself despite what I'm going through?
What you're going through, the environment, definitely. Yeah, so it's very important to, what do you like doing? What do you like doing as a person? What makes you happy? I mean, and something which I know, Christine, you really are very passionate about is even just exercising.
Absolutely.
Going out for a walk. You know, just go walk down the road and get a place, go to maybe a place which is quiet with some trees. Take time. I mean, if you're somebody who loves nature, what is it that you like doing? Just to distract you, not really take you away, but for you to have some sanity. So do something that you like, something that will bring you energy. Actually, walking may be not something you really like, but it's something that is proven that is giving people even a lot of emotional, psychological energy.
That's good.
So
being
go for
in nature.
it. Exactly. Go for it. Of course, what are your resources? I mean, do you have people who are objective in your life? You know,
try to plug into, get some form of support.
Exactly.
Some people around you who love you either way.
Do you have people who you probably have never shared with them what you're going through, but you know that they're objective? Would you have somebody you could, and I'm not saying everybody, you know, it's very easy to just keep talking to everybody. Be careful. Some people are waiting just to hear what's happening to you. Kumbe she's going. So we always, so be very careful. Look for a resourceful person who is objective, a friend, a mentor, who you could just be sharing with. But I would really recommend, because of confidentiality, when it comes to dealing with the emotions and the issues, it's very important to seek
professional help.
Therapy. Very important, because even at times people we really trust, you can find your issues out there, so be very careful.
I think what we need to do, like you say, first of all, destigmatize therapy, and even as a nation, for us then to start looking at therapy as a way for us to seek help and work through issues. Maybe it just needs to be something that we change as a nation.
Yes. And then you asked whether I would recommend if somebody could get off.
At what point do I feel, no, this is too much, I need to leave?
Yeah, I need to leave. Now, one thing we don't do in therapy is we don't tell you what to do. I will not tell you, Christine, I will not tell you leave or stay, but I will ask you what you think are, now, I mean, this is your safety, this is your home, your abuse. What do you think would be a better way out? Of course, we'll talk, you probably bring that out. I feel like leaving. Okay, so what does leaving mean to you? How would you leave? Where would you go to? Do you have a place?
So you help me think through a plan.
Exactly. When you bring up the plan, we will walk through with you in it. And of course, look at the pros and cons. If there are children involved, what does that mean for them? Of course, you will not deprive them of their other parent. So it means co-parenting needs to come in. But of course, we definitely don't want to see women dying in environments which are not right.
Absolutely.
So absolutely. And one of the things even in therapy people do and is separation. I mean, just living and working out your issues really, really helps. But again, we have to allow the client to be able to make a decision.
I hear you.
Yes.
Finally, assuming I am not opting to leave and this is my situation, boundaries. How do you set a boundary with somebody who's emotionally abusing you?
Exactly. Thank you for mentioning that. Well, that was one of the ways of taking care of yourself, boundaries. So yes, you're in this probably marriage setup. As much as you're one, you still have boundaries. You're still an individual. Your spouse is an individual. You are an individual. So of course you need to, of course, let your spouse know how much can you take. Like if it gets here, this is what is going to happen. Love is not conditional, but respect has to have its own conditions. You know, like how far? You can't talk to me like that. You can't yell. But what happens is I'm yelled to today, and then I'm yelled to tomorrow, and I don't react. Because
I've made it acceptable. Exactly. You can say whatever,
so
however.
So I'll accept it. So it shows like, oh, okay. So it's done again. So now it becomes an issue, and you're not able now to set boundaries when it's really gone. So as early as possible, when you realize there's abuse, set boundaries then. I'm not going to take this from you. I cannot take this. If this happens, this is what. So be very specific. Don't let it not be a blanket, like, you know, just specifically, we cannot talk to it. We need to be civil with each other. Respect me, I respect you.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us in this important conversation that we need to be talking about beyond physical abuse. Emotional abuse is happening to so many women, to so many men. It's something that we need to talk about. If it's happening to you, Councillor Pauline is here. Try to find somebody that you can talk to. You're not a professional. Like you say, some things we put out there, not everybody is somebody you need to be sharing with. So look for a professional you can talk to. Have a support network. Find ways to set boundaries. And if all fails, sometimes you might just need to think how you can walk away. Everybody deserves love and respect. And this should not be the ultimate situation that you should be in. Emotional abuse is not acceptable. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next conversation.